Welcome. We are a body like Bruce, the exclusive YouTube channel that doesn't tell you a whole lot of hype, fluff or other BS about Bruce Lee or in regards to Bruce Lee, as has been found with another certain channel that's very popular, verified by another that they talk a lot of bunk. We are bringing you another book about Bruce Lee as we seek to find that mindset, the exact mindset he had, what he did to create it, develop it, and achieve all he achieved in his short but extraordinary lifespan. Bruce Lee, a real-life biography, Wayne Wilson, found in the public domain, public access. Table of contents, 7 chapters and selected television film credits, chronology and index. Chapter 1, the greatest martial arts star. Bruce Lee's dream was that one day he would be an international superstar. In early 1969, when he was 28 years old, he wrote the master plan for his life on a piece of paper. So that's a key to, or the start of him creating that mindset, developing it, putting it into action, and being successful in all he did, all he set himself. So he put a master plan of his life, what was going to happen in his life, what he's going to achieve on a piece of paper or in a notebook, etc. In it, he made a prediction. I, Bruce Lee, will be the highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. In return, I will give the most exciting performances and render the best of quality in the capacity of an actor. So this is what he said and expected of himself. So he's set himself a goal that he will achieve, and then he's answering the question, and what will I give in return? How will I do that? That he would give the most exciting performances and render the best of quality in the capacity of an actor, because that's what he was since infancy through to his childhood, teen years, and later life until his demise. Not long after this declaration, Bruce began to achieve the success that he predicted. So we at a body like Bruce are trying to figure out, how did he do that? And it says, but unfortunately he never saw the full impact of his accomplishments. Like he said, possibly according to his wife, his then wife, Linda Lee Caldwell, that he will make $10 million and he would be worth that, right? Then after his death, through all the fan magazines, the movies, the Bruce Lee Institute, etc., and his loyal fans, he reached that, but he didn't live long enough to enjoy it. For he died on July 20, 1973. He tragically died at the young age of 32, only 1 month before the premiere of his famous film Enter the Dragon at Hollywood's famous Grauman's Chinese Theatre. The movie made him an international superstar and a Hollywood superstar, and is regarded as a classic of action movies because his other movies made him very, very popular, as well as TV shows in Hong Kong with an Asian audience. Bruce Lee revolutionized the martial arts industry and did more to bring the fighting arts to the general public than any other person in the 20th century. Martial arts schools throughout the world were full of eager students who were inspired by Lee's fighting style. The martial art movie industry exploded with many films that tried to duplicate Bruce's success. Many Bruce Lies, Bruce Lows, Bruce Lose, all those Bruce Lee clones. And there's more information on Bruce Lee himself here. Okay. He was, in real life, Bruce was 5'7", 5'7" tall and weighed about 140 pounds, packed with muscle. And there's chapter 2 about the little dragon, or Bruce Lee, when he was born, the usual biographical stuff about his life from infancy to adulthood. Okay, he was enrolled in Kung Fu Chinese boxing classes. He was 13 years old when he studied with renowned sifu or instructor Yip Man or Yip Man. Lee not only excelled in Kung Fu, he became obsessed with it. It wasn't unusual to see him walking along the street, throwing punches at the air and kicking leaves off trees. In high school, Bruce was encouraged by a friend to enter the inter-school boxing championships. He had never put on gloves before, but amazingly knocked out the 3-time champion. In the same year, he also won the Crown Colony Cha-Cha Championship. He was a great dancer and mastered the Cha-Cha by knowing how to do more than 100 steps, which he incorporated in his Jeet Kune Do, rhythm, etc., breaking rhythm, and so forth. Still, Bruce could not avoid the lure of fighting in the streets, alleys, and even in illegal rooftop contests. One of those contests got him into deep trouble with the police when he seriously injured a boy. Maybe punched out his teeth. Maybe that's the guy he punched his teeth out. A police detective warned his parents, if Bruce gets into one more fight, I'm going to have to put him in jail. So I guess they sent him to America, to a friend who owned a restaurant, and he worked there. Went to high school, Edison Technical School, during the day to earn his high school diploma. He lived with a friend of the family, Ruby Chow, a well-known restaurant owner, in a room above her restaurant. He attended Edison Technical School during the day to earn his high school diploma and waited tables at the restaurant at night. He still regularly practiced his Kung Fu even while he worked, sometimes setting up a pad in the back of the kitchen and working on his kata, his form. He also taught Kung Fu to many of his friends in backyard and city parks. Then he met different people and came out with his own views, etc. And he met Linda Emery. They fell in love and were married on August 17, 1964. At first, her mother, Linda's father, died when she was 5, disapproved because Bruce was Chinese and her daughter was a Caucasian, just like you saw in the Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Or a white person, there's a lot of that bias, prejudice. You know, an Asian or European woman shouldn't be seen or have a relationship with a foreigner, like an Asian, Chinese, etc. Okay? It's supposed to be like forbidden or something like that. Disapproved because the mother disapproved because Bruce was Chinese and her daughter was a Caucasian or white person. Eventually she grew to love Bruce and accepted him as a member of her family. And they moved to Oakland, California, and he opened some Kung Fu schools. Had a confrontation with the elders in San Francisco's Chinese community, who found out he was teaching Kung Fu to outsiders. At the time, most Chinese martial arts teachers refused to teach anyone outside of their race, but Bruce Lee didn't care about colour. Yet that's funny because all those karateka were white, some were black. Okay, probably different with the Chinese community rather than the Japanese, right? Okay. And so forth. And then something happened to him during a confrontation, one of their fighters or something like that, just like that Dragon Lee story, right? And he found he was out of breath. He should have, beaten that guy, but he was tired. He couldn't punch the guy and all this sort of stuff. He was telling one of his friends or something like that. He was just so stuffed. So he scrapped the Wing Chun techniques, etc., etc. Apparently, according to Dan and Santos, his friend, student. Okay. Improving his variety of kicks and lightning fast reflexes, he developed a new personal training. Okay, a new personal training equipment. One of his friends, he got to actually curate this equipment according to his needs, his specifications. Right. Enters Hollywood after discovered at the Ed Parker International Karate Championships when he did his 1-inch fist demonstration, all that sort of stuff, by the creator of Batman, William Dozier, and from there he went on to Kato and the Green Hornet, etc., which became really popular and known as the Kato Show in Hong Kong, Green Hornet in America, which didn't do that great because Batman is more popular, all that sort of stuff. And he knew that the stumbling blocks he had to overcome, as Hollywood's producers believed that no Asian person could ever become a major movie star. You know, that's what they believed. So that's why they had white people like Mickey Rooney playing Asian, right, and making them look like buffoons. Okay, so not doing too well in America. He went back to Hong Kong and found that he was so popular as the Kato and the Green Hornet, which they shortened in Hong Kong to the Kato Show. He was a hero to the Asians, okay, and so forth. He was the Asian hero. Soon, movie producers in Hong Kong and Taiwan began to call him. Suddenly, Hollywood had a new attitude about the man who once claimed he had no box office value because he was too Chinese or too Asian. He kept getting offers, right, like to play the leading role in the TV series Kung Fu, but he was overshadowed by David Carradine because Hollywood said, oh, he's too Asian, right? And then him and James Coburn came up with the silent flute idea, and he got overshadowed again, possibly by Carradine, saying, oh, he's too Asian, all this sort of stuff. Okay, then Bruce Lee dies July 20, 1973, etc., etc. After years of great fame, right, being popular, etc., etc., according to all this in the book. When he had laid down because he complained he had a headache, she gave him a pill, analgesic, and he never woke up, or aspirin to relieve his pain of his headache. Okay. Doctors said his cause of death was swelling of the brain. The key to immortality, Bruce Lee reckoned, was living a life worth remembering. Selected film and television credits. Chronology from when he was born to 1973, Enter the Dragon, and he dies on July 20 and is heralded as world's greatest martial artist. That's before it was released, so he didn't get to see or enjoy his success via that movie. Yeah, this is sweet and brief. We hope that you enjoyed that. Again, you're going to touch on that particular segment at the beginning. He wrote himself a master plan for his life. It's like setting goals, and a definite goal, a definite plan, with a definite aim and a definite purpose. Okay, put it on a piece of paper or a notebook, and he made a prediction that he'd be the highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States, and that's what he was willing to do or give in return. Okay, when he became that superstar that he was, by giving the most exciting performances and rendering the best of quality and capacity of an actor, because he saw that those martial art movies at the time were a lot of flying and spinning and all this fanciful crap, right? And he says, is that all you got, you know? I'll do better. And he actually did. So yeah, follow that example. Okay? As we bring you more through different books, etc., as we try to find that information on how he created his mindset, how he developed it, and how he put it to action and achieved all that he did, mentally, physically, and perhaps spiritually. There's a lot of information out there, and it's all in all these different books he left behind, etc., about his martial arts, his exercises, etc., etc., his recommendations. It's all oriented around the martial arts. There's a little bit of philosophy in between, but there's nothing really sticking out that says this is how I thought, this is my mindset, this is how I created it, this is how I developed it, etc., etc.